Girl, this is T.
And this is K.
Welcome to
HonesT Kurvesationz.
Hey. As you can see, if you are watching this, we have two special guests on today's special episode. We are at episode 15. Yes. So we wanted to do a special live video for our viewers on YouTube, as well as our streaming audience on our audio portion. Apple Podcasts and Spotify is where you can find us. Today, guys, as you can see again, we have two special people on the couch. And I'll let them introduce themselves as well as their podcast that they also have.
Yes, well, my name is Alicia. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Black Girls Den podcast.
Yes.
Hey.
Den. Come on.
And I am Sheree. I'm the other co-host of Black Girls Den.
Yes, Sheree. Come on, Black Girls Den.
Woo.
You know, Black girls are thriving in the podcast world. In 2024, I think everyone can relate and attest to, we want a safe space to talk about things that, we don't normally talk about with other people. So we created podcasts to do that on our episodes and on our shows.
Period.
So, enough of me talking. You guys know how we do with T and K. We have an icebreaker game on today. To kind of liven up the mood with our special guest on today, right?
Yes. She likes to surprise me.
So, actually, today I was just at a baby shower before I came here, and we were talking at the table about different questions you get asked in the interview, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to ask y'all no interview questions. It was just an interesting question that we're asking, that people ask at an interview, and I'm like, I want to know what my friends would say about this stuff.
So do you want our response to this
I
question?
want y'all response to see,
like our natural response to it, or if
not
it would
as
happen
if you
to
was on the job.
Okay.
So one of them was I'll start you off easy.
Okay, thank you.
Do you guys see the glass half empty or full?
That is easy. It's half full.
And why?
Do you see my shirt? Positive.
Optimistic.
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 Positive than optimistic, but I am optimistic. So when I see things in a more positive light than a negative light.
Okay. How about yourself?
I look at it from the perspective of half empty.
Okay.
Well, I'm just joking. Half full. Like she said, being
I'm gonna let you
optimistic.
have it. Explain.
No. Like, I think if you look at it from half empty, that's coming from a mindset of lack. And it's not being positive about it.
That's good.
You're not showing that you're grateful for what you already have and expecting more to come into the glass.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, I'm going to have an unpopular opinion because I don't know last time I seen a glass half full or empty. So 10 years ago, I might have said half full. Now I might say half empty.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And would you like to expound on that and let us know why? Or
yeah, like half empty. I mean,
because monkey wrench out there.
Yeah, I mean, like, because you could be optimistic all day long, but it's like
the reality, maybe.
Yeah, reality doesn't really give me optimism all the time. I'm like, and the reality is literally like, it's half empty. There's no more water.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
I'm with Alicia.
Really?
And I actually got asked this question in an interview before, and I told them that I see it half empty because a lot of times we're coached to be positive and to think opposite of what we are actually dealing with and what we're faced with. So I think, you can actually grow to that feeling it full, but it depends on where you're at in life. Because reality is reality. You can't change it.
So the Lulu is not the Salulu.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm right here with you. Okay. Good little question. Over there. Y'all want another one? Because Alicia actually has another kind of segment that she would like to bring up during this pre-notes of our episode. Y'all want another question or y'all want to move on?
Let's get one more question.
Okay, so this one's a little bizarre. But would you rather fight off 100 horse duckies or one strong horse?
Here's the thing, I don't know what a horse ducky is.
So it's basically a horse in ducky form. So
like
a miniature horse.
Like
There's 100 of them coming at you, or
horse.
one real strong.
I'll give me the one done.
You 100?
Give me 100.
100
versions of a horse?
Yes.
I'm stepping on you. Don't even worry about it. They just be waddling like this. Nah. I'm cool. Give me the 100, please.
100? I'm going for the strong man.
No, ma'am.
100. If I do it one time, it's a one hit quitter.
One is gonna hit you.
Right.
Gonna hit you one time, maybe.
A horse?
Oh, yeah.
So they in the water, they be carrying people. They are.
Well, okay, the ladies that we were talking about at the table, one of them gave the example of like just taking the neck and.
Oh gosh. Well, first you gotta get the neck.
Right. And I was like, okay, I can get that. It's just all of how you position yourself and how you see yourself winning the victory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that brings us back to perspective.
It does.
So back to glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah.
It does.
And so I think when it comes to that perspective of, am I able to battle this one? Y'all know how we are. We kind of get into the Jesus a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather take 100 mini trials than one
One
major
big
one if I had an option or a choice. Them 100 mini
No.
trials will help me grow. I can
I don't know about the trials.
I can do 100 mini ones.
No, I don't want trials to be like this. You hold them all to be
You want
honest.
one massive one?
Give me the massive.
Massive. Everybody in your family dies. Boom.
Once
You
it's
got
over,
sickness. Boom.
Once it's over,
You done
you
miscarried.
got 100.
All these big and hefty heavy ones at one time.
Well, what's the 100 ones gonna be?
Little.
You lose a job?
Yeah,
Right,
I take
she
that.
got my new little.
That's not taking that.
That's my toe.
Duckies?
Just hit me all at once.
Duckies?
Yeah, rent still due.
But you didn't want that big.
No.
Y'all don't do
You
that.
taking 100 mini ones.
See, it's got y'all mind thinking. That's
If
why I
it was
was
an animal, but not trial form.
Yeah, I don't want the trial.
She said, hold the trials and
Give me
tribulation.
the 100.
Lord, if you hear it, no, I'm joking.
Right. You listen.
Whoa,
He
no,
listening.
no.
All right, so
Well,
as you can tell,
I just don't know. Okay. I just don't know if I were asked this question seriously in an interview, how I would actually
right,
respond.
and that's what we were saying. Like, what do the interviewer want to know?
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
but I think it's all in kind of how you think and process things.
Mhm.
Because I think that was why they would ask. Like,
I'm gonna tell them.
they want to know your step by step. Like, right? That's
Oh,
what I'm like. What?
I'm gonna throw it.
Yeah, I want to know like if you're gonna have a strategy with it. Like,
Right.
are you gonna try to do it this way or like? I think that's a good question.
Or it could be like it is now, like a good icebreaker. Maybe like it allows you to bring your walls down, and they kind of see you more of a like it gets your mindset out of I'm interviewing for a job.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. All right. So moving forward from our little icebreaker, our guest Miss Alicia has a segment. I guess she wants to
A little
It's a
small
question.
It's a question about the topic, so do you want to
I think it will go. I think it's gonna coincide together.
Okay, so my question is, unpopular opinion, let me know, do you think this is true or do you think it's not true if you disagree, right? Do you think marriage is a bigger commitment than having children with somebody?
I'm going definitely with kids.
Kids is a bigger commitment?
Kids is a bigger commitment.
What do you think?
Same.
Kids.
Yeah, kids definitely are.
For sure, because you can get yourself out of a marriage, but you can't really do that with children.
What do y'all think?
I'm the same route. Like the kids are literally forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially
So
from a
one of y'all
female.
leave this earth.
Right. Especially as a woman or a mom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, not like I'm not gonna say it like that. Like it's super different for a man.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is like after 18 they out the house and whatever the case may be. But for a mom, that attachment is lifelong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kids are a bigger commitment than marriage too. So I was just asking that because in the conversation, as we see, Cardi B just got a divorce or whatever she's going on. And so in this social media world, like this media where they're always like, marriage is such a bigger commitment than kids. Marriage is and it's like, no, it's not. So I just was like, I have an unpopular opinion. I want to see if y'all have an unpopular opinion or not. Because it's like we get preached to like, oh, kids are not a big commitment as marriage. And it's like, what? Like, how are kids not a bigger commitment? And also, I was watching Poor Minds and Act Normal, and the girl Dre, she like broke it down. She was like literally like, you have graduations, you have grandkids, like you are literally
lineage.
like it's a lineage, and I'm like,
I don't think people really comprehend that or say that. It's like, if Cardi B was just married to Offset, didn't have no kids, she wouldn't have nothing to say to him. He wouldn't be on social media. Like, for him to be like, oh, you're my baby mama, I won. Like, that's crazy. To go from a wife to a baby mama and don't even have no respect. And then that's a whole other conversation. But yes, I just think that in this day and age, people are just like, oh, they could just having kids with everybody and stuff like that. It's like, no, kids are a big commitment to what's going on. Now, the caveat is that my friend was saying that maybe celebrities don't think it's as big because they have help. And I said, well, we are regular schmegular people. So regular schmegular people, it's a bigger commitment because we don't have nannies and we don't have chefs and all that stuff. Like, Cardi B don't be worried about the commitment and how you're going to get that child to X, Y, and Z point and to school and home from school and what involved activities are we gonna put you in? How am I nourish your brain and your mindset? How am I gonna feed you learning and like all these things? That's massive. And Cardi B gonna be good whether she just had a baby a day ago or whatever. Like even 18 years, like people gonna be planning her parties for her, and it's like we don't have that privilege. So I think nowadays, like people really need to, I don't know, the brains, whatever is going on. Like people need to think like who you having a child with is very important. So yes, that's a great segment.
All right. Another good conversation started for the episode. Okay, so it's already getting a little juicy, as you can tell. I'm joking. So our topic for today is
we don't have our bowl.
We don't have our magic bowl.
That's all right because the girl sat here and told me that she had a topic for us, and I had no idea. Again, surprise.
You guys know. You already know how.
But we're not in our home either.
Yes,
so
we straight off the dome. Let's go.
All right. What's the topic, friend?
Topic is navigating singleness. What was the rest of it, Alicia?
It was just like navigating singleness professionally and personally. And just and like balancing that, how you do that. Because as we said, like, well, we don't have no kids now. No, whoever, like, and we're not married per se, right? Well, hopefully nobody's married. I'm just playing. Like we're not married. So it's like in this social media world, we hear like all these things like, oh, you know, relationship goals and partner stuff and then kids and stuff. It's like, where is the space for us truly to be our authentic self? Right. And then also like there are like maybe cons to being single, or there could be a lot of pros to being single. So I thought that we could just like talk about that as like we're both have podcasts, we're both in the same city, and it's like we have different conversations. HonesT Kurvesationz, right? And Black was in, so I was like, I feel like this is a safe space to kind of talk about how we navigate that. So
I think, I don't know if you guys know, but T and K already kind of touched on it just a smidget. In the episode, probably early on in our podcasting. So
I want to hear their perspective.
I know. Let's hear from you guys first, and then we'll
There's so many episodes where we talk about
we talk about it too.
That's literally what our podcast is about as well. Navigating adulthood.
So tell us in a nutshell, like your all's perspective about it.
Single in today's 2024.
Right, and the influence of social media and all that.
The dating pool is pretty murky.
I'm cracking up. Well, within social media, I kind of just like backed away from social media because there's really not too much on there. Like, I'm sorry, like no relationship is my goals from no rapper to whatever. That's not really it. And then the dudes be so rude and so nasty on social media. I don't want to see that. And dudes don't really mount up too much for me, so it's like I don't even like have the desire to go, oh, I want to get married to you, or I want to like, they're not really showing up how they are. So I feel like it's a disservice to us as women because, you know, of course they say we have a biological clock and stuff like that, right? But it's a disservice to women who are like, I want to get married, I want to be able to have kids, and you can't even find your mate. And then they'll be like, okay, if you go travel and if you go this, they'll be like, well, you don't have no mate, you don't have no mate. It's like, okay, well, when you look for a man, you can't find him. And then when you're traveling, living life, whatever, it's like, oh, well, why don't you have no man? It's like, so can I really live this single, thriving life and not have to worry about what y'all are saying about me? And so I kind of feel like you kind of give mixed messages. Kind of. So.
So I don't want to cut you off, but I thought as you were talking, I just had a question. So would you say that you are happy single, or are you just kind of like, this is my reality and I have to push through?
I would definitely say I'm happy single when I see all the drama, child. I don't know if you'll do that. Like, I don't want to have to be looking through your phone and popping up, baby. I like to sleep at night,
calmly and peacefully.
Yeah.
I love my peace. So that's why I don't think I'm missing anything, but I feel like I'm content with being single. Like, do I want to be single the rest of my life? No, but I feel like right now I'm content. Like, I'm living, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
I don't really think too much about it, and that's why I was saying, which is easier because you know, it ain't like a dude showing up like, I want to take you out, I want to buy you, da. If you saying that, maybe, but
right.
nobody's saying that. So it's like, yeah, it's like I'm just content with being single, and then also I feel like everyone is going through that kind of like a lot of my friends aren't married, a lot of my friends are single, so it's kind of like it's just not me. So I think that's kind of what makes it better too for me. It's like it's just not me. I mean, it's the other.
Right.
Gender.
I think for me, because I'm 32, so like Alicia was saying, with my biological clock kind of ticking, they say about 35 you're considered to have a geriatric pregnancy. So I'm thinking about all those different things, but at the same time, I don't want to just have a kid with anybody. I come from a 2-parent household like she does. My parents have been married for 35 years, so I've strived to have the same thing. But I think with today, in our generation, dating is just atrocious. So I used to kind of put marriage and stuff like that on a pedestal. Like, I wouldn't say I idolized it, but I kind of looked at it like, wow, I really want this. I really want to manifest this in my life. But it seems like the more I kind of hone in on it, the further it gets away. So I'm like, now I need to kind of figure out more things about myself. Like, we have talked about like discerning men in one of our episodes. So I'm like, maybe that's what I need to apply to my life, because I feel like a lot of men I date, they're just distractions. Like, they're not really anything for me, like in a positive light, like going in the same direction as me. Like, if I can find somebody that invests into my dreams, invests into my goals, to be supportive for me physically, emotionally, and then on top of that, I meet so many different men. Like, not to say by myself, I am a little bit lukewarm, but I find a lot of lukewarm men that want to stay out in bars, in clubs, and I'm like, they'll be like on church on Sunday, but I'm like, even still, then y'all go to church, but why can't we pray together? Why can't we read the Bible together? We're not growing together spiritually, so what am I gaining from this? So,
Nothing.
Like, nothing at all. Like,
that's good.
So I think that's what I feel like, honestly.
For sure. To your point, when you're talking about idolizing marriage, I'm like, I feel like that's what a lot of women do. I don't want to say that, but women idolize marriage so much, but it's like, okay, y'all idolizing marriage, but honestly, I mean, if we're going to go biblically, like, you're supposed to not have any idols. I'm going to just say that.
Okay.
And
Preach the word now. She's officially she's in the game.
I'm crying. But also, I think that women idolize it so much because, patriarchy and stuff like that. But it's like, you want a marriage so bad. Do you want a wedding or do you want a marriage? Like, or you really want to be in a marriage, And so I feel like that's another thing. And as she did say, my parents have been married for 35 years. So, like, I kind of know the difference between, like, okay, a wedding and, like, a marriage. I've seen that and I've grown and I've, like, grown up in that. And so nowadays, like, even when they talk about people, like, break up for dumb things or, like, they get divorced, like, how divorce shouldn't be, like, it should be, like, the last straw kind of. If you're cheating and stuff like that, like, bye. But I think that right now that women, we just idolize it because we see, like, the nice trips, the nice this, nice that, but you don't know anything that's going on behind that. And so I feel like that's another layer thing too, knowing that you have to kind of like be able to critically think. I think people are lacking that now, but you have to critically think about it, and then you're idolizing it, and so then you're like, well, why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? When honestly, I'm not even trying to be funny, but it's like, but who are you and like what do you have? Like what value do you have? Who are you? And like you're so focused on a man, it's just like, what are your hobbies? Where are you at? What you doing with your life? So that's hard.
No, like it's funny that this is a topic because this is a conversation I had at work recently. Not this specifically, but the guy that I am dating asked me, why do I want to be married? And at first, when he first asked the question, I was kind of like, what you mean? Like kind of defensive or whatever. But that question rang in my head. And everybody in my office, the other counselors at my school are all married. And I took a step back and like was really honest with myself about why do I want to be married? And as I learned I don't have a 2-parent household, single mom raised me, I'm an only child, whatever the case may be. So the only thing that I had to measure it up to really, or that I do measure it up to, is my grandparents, and my grandmother is remarried, and my cousin, who they like have the best marriage and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So when I took a step back and thought about like, why do I want to be married? And so I spewed it off to him after I thought about it for a little while. and like was really honest with myself. And it has a lot to do with someone who's going to love me deep within, who's going to challenge me, who's going to tell me honestly about myself, who won't judge me, who's willing to work through all these things. So that's what I spewed out to him. And then his response was, nobody is saying, he's like, I've asked this question to so many people and nobody ever says what I'm looking for. And I hate to feel like I'm being tested. So I just kind of left it alone and I was like, okay. So then he was like, well, I'm going to tell you, nobody ever says love. And I said, well, I will say that I said someone who will love me through whatever the case may be. But I will say love is not going to keep you in a marriage. So we kind of talked through that. And when I asked my coworkers, why did you all get married? Why marriage? Why marriage? And I will tell y'all, love was never, of course, initially, love is
like
going
a given.
that's what I said. Love is going to get that ring.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or allow me to commit to you for a lifetime. But love is not the thing that's going to keep me there. So I guess I want to ask you guys, why, if you all still have that desire, why do you want to be married?
No, I think I was dang it, because I had a question where you said, so he was saying that when he asked the question, nobody ever said love.
Right.
They want
So what
to
did
get
they
married
say?
for love.
Oh, what is
Love is not enough.
So, I mean, I guess the other thing, I don't know, I didn't really ask, but I did tell, because he was like, okay, you did say love through this or whatever,
It wasn't
but it's not
your-
like, why do I want to be married? Because I love the person. No, because that's not the reality of the situation.
Because
Like
love
you
don't pay
said,
the bills.
and you and your parents, I'm sure,
Right.
have seen them go through thick and thin, and your parents, through ups and downs and things like that. Love just ain't enough all the time. And I almost assure you, if you ask other people who are married, they're not going to say love.
I'm definitely gonna do that. But why do I want to be married? I think mine is more so. Dang, y'all staring at me. I don't want to say like I need a man to be secure, but the security aspect of not always having to wear things on my back all the time and pull the weight all the time and pay the bills all the time and make sure this is figured out all the time. I very well can do that, but I think a partnership that is going to help me, be at that fullest potential, so I can feel myself as well as this household. Sharing that responsibility is why I feel like I desire to be married. I've been single majority of my life and I've experienced everything. I know I can pay the bills. I know how to be independent. I know how to make things work. I know how to figure this out. I don't have all the answers, no, but to me, I desire to have that shared partnership with someone because of that, because I felt it already. I know what it feels like to be an independent woman.
Right.
So give me something else. I'm ready for another level.
Right.
So
Elevation.
yeah.
But I was gonna say, actually, I feel like I would want a relationship because I feel, to me, this is all I've seen. I want my man to actually invest in me, and that can help me elevate to what I want to do next. And I feel like that within partnership, that works. So. I would also say, it is like biblical and spiritual, like why I want to get married and like kind of the foundation. But ultimately, I think it's a good foundation, and I think it's like, okay, you have someone that you love, you want to do life with, of course, paying the bills and stuff like that is like a big thing. But it's really like you have someone that's committed to you, you have someone that's looking out for you, and you have like your well-being. And so I think that is like a nice thing. And then it's like, okay, as you're saying, like we travel, we do all these things, but it's like it'd be really cool to like travel with somebody and not to put the whole bill. But but it's like to have experiences and to do things because you've done like everything you've done. So I think that it'll just be cool to kind of like see how that is and like live a life of that.
And not to, because you're going to explain yours. Not because the way you pointed that out, and it kind of relates back to what you said earlier about like the whole Cardi B situation. Personally, I have no desire, and I don't think any woman has a desire, but I do not have a desire to be somebody's baby mama. And also, there are experiences in this life that I have yet to have that I would like to have with a shared partner who have yet to have those experiences as well. So that's what I mean by the growth and the support and the together. So like we're both nourishing a child together. We're both building a house together. We're both investing in like the world. So
because they always talking about they was like with kids, and I'm just like, well, no, not really, because like that's not your, like, literally, you can't do those first with them, and then they're already, and they're, I mean, a man as well, so it's like, it's already a different experience as, like, a man having kids, and then, like, you having kids, and I feel like that is it too, and then also, really, I feel like, I'm just telling women, this is just me, I be like, protect y'all wombs, like, honestly, a man can have a baby with me unless he's married to me, so. Like that's just protecting my womb, like, cause I don't want to work when I have kids. I don't want to I don't want to I don't want to go back to like, I want to be able to raise my kids. I want my kids to be at home with me, and so I really want to have that bond and stuff like that. And I want to be able to give my kids experience. Like, I know I probably was really privileged in my life, but I want to even do more for my kids than like my parents did for me. So it's just like, I want to be able to have that foundation, and I need him to be a God man. I need him to want to be a provider. And all right. And she missed it, huh? Okay, you know. So yeah, that's what I think.
That's good.
Thank you. Well, I could talk about this probably way more than 30 minutes, but I guess in a not a long-winded form. I would just say, like, with marriage, I'm really looking for a lifelong partner. I think that what my dad has taught me, like, you know, a lot of people when they first get married, you hear, oh, my husband, my wife. Once you get past a certain mark, it's past the husband and wife. This should be your best friend. Somebody who's like who's going to take a bullet for you. Somebody who's going to lay down their life for you. So I think seeing it from that perspective, you know, as being raised in a Christian household and stuff like that, I really value marriage and commitment and just the covenant of it. And I think that, like Alicia said, if I'm not married to you, I don't want to have a child with you. I want to have that foundation. I want to have that security and have that providing assets and stuff like that for my children growing up in that environment. So that's pretty much my take on it.
The only caveat I want to say is because both of y'all said this word, and I just want to ask, because I know it's a time thing, but the fact that you and her, y'all said that y'all want security in a marriage, right? But do you think something's ever really secure?
I mean,
because Cardi B was married.
No, I think it is how you execute in your marriage. Cardi B kind of knew what she was doing. Yes. I mean, she knew that. So I don't know.
But did she know?
Yes, she knew.
Okay. I'm just asking. I don't know if she knew or not.
Facts show she knows because he has other children. He's been in the rap game. Like she's seen the lifestyle before. You know what I'm saying? And not judging anyone who desires to be with someone like that. But I think it depends on how you build and how you execute that with your partner. And you give me that assurity and security to know that we're in this together forever. If I go in already knowing like, oh, he's a little finicky, like he hasn't really fulfilled this, he really hasn't showed up here, he's showing signs of this, then I know that's not a secure thing that I'm gonna yearn for forever. If you show me in the beginning like, oh, I got you and I feel that you got me and I know that you got me backed up in the prayer line, I know you know, talking to God about our situation, all that kind of stuff, and I can vividly see that's what you're applying to what we have, then that's where I think I would gain that sense of security from.
Yeah, that's good. I was just asking because I feel like Christian women, as you see, that like if they get pregnant, they really quick to marry because you know that's kind of like what they're taught, like get married. Now, so I don't know what Cardi B is or whatever, but like she got married because she was pregnant per se. But then it's like, okay, but you're getting pregnant or you're getting married because you're pregnant. But then it's like, well, what's the foundation? Like, how do we know we're really going to be secure in having that? And so that's just not her. I'm just using her as an example. But there's like a lot of other people. So it's like I feel like the women are like, yeah, I'm gonna get married, we're gonna do this, but then it falls on the men, but they're just like, so like, oh, I had a baby, I have to marry them or something like that. And they think that that's secure, but it's really not. So that's why I was asking.
And I think the reason why she did that is because she comes from a 2-parent household as well.
Her
parents been married for a long time. So I think she really values family. So she's like, okay, I'm pregnant by this man. I need to go ahead and go on through with being his wife, essentially. But like, to add to your point about security, I don't know if anything's ever really truly secure because like if my husband were to die during the marriage, God forbid, you know, but I still, like, or things can happen. Like, some people can honestly change, but if we build something, like you said, the way you execute something and build up investments with each other, it don't matter if we split our ways, I'm going to make sure I get my coins because I got to make sure I have my money on the other side because, you know, other people are not always dependable. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a husband or not. Like, I always want to make sure myself and my children are good more than anything.
I think that ties into just being led by the Spirit and discerning who you are attaching yourself to.
Yes.
Have discernment.
Yes, have
Yes.
discernment and listen to it and don't negate or try to block out, ignore anything that you're feeling, because that's the Holy Spirit telling you maybe not.
And that's
maybe
why
not right now.
Kind of to the original question, or the second half of the question about social media and the dating pool and stuff like that. I personally have had those apps deleted off my phone unless it's holiday breaks or summer or whatever for the past 5 years maybe, and to the point where I really have no desire to bring it back, because I'm hearing those influences, regardless if you notice it or not.
Right.
And I preach this to my students and everybody, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, all these things are feeding into you, and you don't know that is driving you to a certain direction or point, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
So when it comes to relationships, and then you see these people relationship goals, and you see these people, oh, your man should be doing this or doing that, and I personally don't have that kind of window or shade or vision, because I'm not on that. Yeah. So I'm able to create my own judgments and my own desires, and with that person, behind closed doors, because everything ain't for everybody.
Right. I just was talking to my friend about that. I don't know if y'all know Poor Minds or whatever. It's a podcast, but I was they're spewing out and telling people oh, your man should be buying this for you. Oh, your man should be buying this for you. 5 years ago, but they're talking to people in that industry, right? But now 5 years later, they're oh, you should be a boss chick. You should be. I'm
right.
Everything changes, and it feels you really have to know that. So I was you have to critically think and know what you are and what yourself. I've always said I do want my man to pay the rent, but it's not you gotta cash out $1,000, $2,000 on me, but then 2 years later, you're telling the same people who are not even relatable to you no more that you should be a boss chick. Well, how they gonna start a podcast? How are they gonna start something? And they're literally small town, don't know what to do. It's you're listening to these influences, and actually I take a couple of social media breaks too, or just unfollow people, because it's just too much. Even the men, they watch it and they're seeing that. They're seing, oh, this is how I can talk to a girl. I can talk to her like this. Dudes be talking to me, I be who you talking to?
Because you lost your mind.
Okay, who girl, this girl. First of all, I'm a grown woman. I don't know who you, don't call me no B. I get real blocked. I be blocking dudes. Because y'all think that, but it's they see that in the rappers, and they you see it, rappers guys, you ain't got $5, I don't know who you think you talking to like that. So I think that, but that goes for women too. It's you are not whatever these social media girls just posting and doing stuff. It's okay. You don't have to be out here the social media influencer person.
Your life does not have to be aesthetic.
Because it's not. Because it's not right. And that's again why a part of the reason of my marriage or my desire is somebody who's going to see me through that nitty and that gritty, and we're both getting through it together.
They're gonna see you through the glass empty.
No, glass full.
Half full. Half full. Yes.
All right.
And that brings it
right.
It wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't.
Bless.
All right. Well, that was a great conversation. I believe, and we are so grateful that we had our team on the show today on our show, because you guys are seeing.
I want to say this. Although it, of course, we had to organize this to get it together, but it happened naturally, and I have not extensively personally talked to either one of these nice young women, and to know that, wow, I'm glad not on besides myself and Aaliyah or our homegirls, that we are small little. There are other Black women out there who are thinking like us, who are driving like us, who have the same roots as us. So I'm appreciative of you all.
Yes, and that's why we're trying to get the podcast out there, because we don't know what the other podcasts do. This is real life, real relatable,
real raw.
Okay, real raw, real true, relatable. That's why I have empty for me. But so thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
15 episodes.
Please tell our followers where they can find you guys.
Yes. Give y'all
well, a little slight plug
is
that we are celebrating our 30th episode.
Oh,
and it comes out Wednesday, right after this podcast.
Catch up.
Catch up. And we're doing a GQ inspired episode. So we did 30 questions. So go check it out out on the Black Girls Den podcast on YouTube, Black Girls Den. And then
And we're also on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio.
yeah, Black Girls Den podcast on TikTok, Black Girls Den podcast,
Okay.
Instagram, and Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, and the professional girls are on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, period.
We got out there on
I love it.
We get to third grade.
We're gonna roll out the list like
Right.
that.
Yes.
Well, you guys, we thank you guys for your time. We thank you guys for watching, tuning in, listening to your favorite girls, T and K. And do you have anything else you want to say before we close it out?
No, but I do want them to reintroduce themselves and say who you guys are again.
Oh yes, I'm Alicia.
I'm Sheree.
I am
Black Girls.
T.
And I am Kay.
And we out of here.
Bye.